Hello there. Sir Keir Starmer and Sir Tony Blair are currently at the World Economic Forum in Davos selling our country to outside interests like BlackRock. This is getting very serious. This should set alarm bells ringing. Keir Starmer and Tony Blair at the WEF Davos conference spouting their aims for our future. Yes, they've both been there, one with a global health plan and the other with a cunning plot to save the UK by shutting its economy down. Now, Tony Blair was talking as part of the 100 days to outrace the next pandemic part of the conference. But there is another issue with Tony Blair and the WEF that I'll come on to in a minute. Now, Blair wants to see everyone on the planet have their health status entered into a database to make sure that everyone gets the correct medication. And one assumes that if we're all on a database, then it will be easy to enforce your updates when dictated by our betters. Not only that, but to also have pharmaceutical hubs based in countries with small populations to try and ensure that the required medicines get distributed more quickly. Because if they're based in countries with large populations, like the UK, they will hoard the stuff, he says. But all that does is put huge power in the hands of a few people, outsourcing your pharmaceutical security, as it were. These people love to impose globalism, don't they? Anyway, what's this other issue regarding Tony Blair and the WEF? Well, it concerns the WEF founder and chairman, Klaus Schwab. He's been the president of the WEF for 5 odd decades. But people are wondering what will happen when he steps down or is unable to continue for whatever reason. And some are even saying he will hang on and pop his clogs in post. But according to reports, there's no succession planning, and further, that Schwab has been so successful in surrounding himself with a nest of vipers that there's unlikely to be a good handover, putting the future of the WEF in doubt. It's not every day you get some good news, is it? But some insiders are quietly muttering the name of Tony Blair as the Schwab successor. So we'd have the Tony Blair Institute World Economic Forum jabbing its nose into everything, especially a Labour-run UK, where we're already set to be subjected to Gordon Brown's devolution max plans. What a prospect. Now let's move on to Keir Starmer's Davos push to wreck the UK economy by doubling down on net zero. And one of the things he's talking about is no new UK oil and gas if Labour gets into government. Right now, if I were one of the big oil companies working in the North Sea, I would be concerned about my future, with the possibility that Labour would also go further with windfall taxes. So I'd have the old slide rule out, calculating if it would be cheaper to just shut down all North Sea operations in the next few years and get the oil field decommissioning tax breaks and then get off to somewhere else. Then the UK would be forced to import more oil and gas from those other places when the weather decides to go calm and dark. But Starmer will claim the UK is green as a result. Apart from exporting our carbon footprint all over the planet and shivering during the blackouts, of course. But further, the Labour leader wants to set up a Green Power Alliance. And this Green Power Alliance would work in opposition to OPEC. Now, Starmer says he wants to use this alliance to share green ideas and force the price of energy down, as opposed to OPEC, which uses the oil and gas taps to keep the profits up. Is he so naive that he thinks that those who will be providing the energy will want to do anything other than make it produce wealth for themselves? Even a socialist government will use it to provide more money for the exchequer. and Blair and Starmer are there in Davos, rubbing shoulders with the big money-making corporate bosses, asking for their money. And this isn't capitalism, it's crony capitalism at its best, or worst. All that Starmer is going to do is make the UK much more reliant on more expensive imported energy and do the lefty globalist thing of destroying what remains of our energy self-sufficiency and security in the UK. And the first thing he'll do when it all collapses around him will be to blame the Tories. The UK population is beginning to pay the price for decades of green virtue signalling, and it's going to get a lot worse and a lot more expensive. And already we see that the North Sea's largest oil and gas producer, Harbour Energy, is looking to ditch hundreds of jobs as it starts to scale back future activity levels. And the cause? The Tory windfall tax. Now fast forward to Starmer's vision. Won't be much left, will there? So the Greens can make any claim they like, and we have to believe it. Our belief in their green claims must be total. Now this may sound like a small matter, but it might be bigger than you think. Now since 2010, the Scots Nats and the Scottish Greens have been claiming that 25% of the offshore wind potential for Europe lies with Scotland. Yes, 25%, that was the claim. And no one seems to have checked it until recently. You'd think the Greens would know whether it was true or not, but it was debunked. It was debunked last year, I believe, and the real figure is between 4 and 6%. So the Greens have been over-egging this by 300 to 400% since 2010. And they're meant to be the experts in all of this. Now these claims went on until late last year, November 2022. And there is a lot of argument as to when they actually found out that they'd got it completely wrong. Well, I think they've known for a long time that it was wrong. Anyway, a Tory MSP, Liam Byrne, asked a question and wanted Lorna Slater, the Green Minister, for the green skills, the circular economy and biodiversity to come forward and make a correction to those claims. But while he was asking the question in Holyrood, she flounced out of the chamber. No, not being held to account, refusing to answer, refusing to correct the record. And my question is, what else are they misleading us with? What other lies are they telling? What other things are they omitting to tell us? And that's the real question.
Let's get straight into the paper, shall we? OK, in The Guardian. Jacinda Ardern, political figures believe abuse and threats contributed to Prime Minister's resignation. Oh, I say. Yes, there's plenty of abuse going on from her and her government towards those people who wouldn't take the medical procedure. Yes, I think you know what I speak of. That was pretty horrific for a lot of people. They were made to feel like second-class citizens. And Jacinda herself said, you can't go and enjoy normal society unless you partake of a medical procedure. Lovely. OK, let's get on to The Independent. And Rishi Sunak suggests only idiots think he can cut tax in budget. This system has to be maintained, doesn't it? I mean, this system is so just and the wealth distribution is equal. So, yeah, I bet he wants a bit of status quo, does Mr. Sunak. Yes, considering he's a multi-millionaire. He's richer than the Queen. So, yeah, stability for Mr. Sunak. Yep, you can't cut tax, can you? No. There we go. On to the next one. OK, let's get over to the Daily Mail. So, now, Nicola Sturgeon's SNP plans to ask 7-year-olds if they are male, female, non-binary, transgender or other. In school, survey branded disgraceful and indoctrination. Well, my goodness, you're asking 7-year-olds to ask themselves very, very fundamental questions about themselves when they're still learning about who and what they are. I don't know what to say on this. I mean, there's so much I can't say on it. OK, moving on. And now to the Daily Mirror for something very, very important. What really happens after a Love Island fight? Stand by security to off-camera ultimatums. Oh, Listen, do some of you actually watch Love Island and these programmes? It bemuses me that some people do. Another thing that bemuses me, before I go, is that Prince Andrew, apparently in a popularity poll, I can't remember who ran it, it was in the Daily Mail also the other day, apparently 10% of the British public like him. 10% of the British public like him. I think the rest of that poll can be completely discredited then, because if 10% of the British public like Prince Andrew, well, okay, yeah, I believe that. And finally, over to the Daily Mail with the headline, Prince Andrew wants his HRH title back and will start using it in low-key way to test the water if Charles agrees, source reveals. Fantastic. We all love Prince Andrew, and we all want him to return back to public life, don't we? Yes, of course we do. Yes. All right, anyway, listen, I've got to go. Love you all. You take care. Bye for now.